Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week in episode 55, our Nobilis continue to pursue the end of the war between gods and the remaking of the cosmos, whatever the cost. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
Hey, I'm Drew. I'll be playing Leorian Cathar, the Viscount of tempo and of revelry, once more unto the revel.
Hi, I'm Robin, and for the last time, I'll be playing Lyssa Crate, the Furious Queen and Guardian of Mental Fortitude.
I'm Dez, and I will be playing Rumnet, Murderer of Beauty.
Excellent, and thank you all. We don't have an out-of-play experience bit this time because this is actually a continuous recording session with our last episode. So if you're hearing this part, it means that we ran long enough to need to split it into two. So lucky you, presumably. But we should probably recap the events of our previous episode for ourselves and our listeners, and for once, that's my job. So.
Well, for once it's your job on air.
Fair enough.
You do this constantly as a courtesy.
Indeed, my players hear off mic my recaps every week, but now, listeners, you will get to hear my recap, though it will probably be slightly less informal than those. So, last time, we joined our Nobilis and their companions on the streets of Theret, looking down into the harbor as a storm swept in from the sea, following the ships from Diamakor that had been helmed by Apatia and brought support and allies to Taraxis. Variety of preventative miracles and offensive miracles were undertaken. The Edict of Truth made the city closed to voyages. A drum made the storm forever pending and never arriving. Once there were land and sea predators pushing in on the city, a creation of murder ended their threats, and then a canny creation of fury in the sea and the surf piled them into a sort of sandbag berm along the harbor to protect the city, while a miracle of the deep earth obliterated much of the deep and caused a massive swell out in the ocean heading for the city. There were, of course, other conversations and correspondences, all aimed at undermining Celiand and her Nobilis and her bid to be the last remaining god. Particularly, our Nobilis were made aware of the survival of Cirtha and his Nobilis, specifically Eka, the Nobilis of Confession, who offered assistance and began to head in their direction. Among the miracles that were done, a complex combination of fury, madness, and sensation was used to potentially disable and definitely nettle Celiand for the benefit of the allied Nobilis against her. And it was this ignition of fury that Lyssa and especially Mavia used to track Celiand's location back to Fermata. Arriving at the manifestation after depositing Puff in Bor for safekeeping, our Nobilis and their allies tracked a focal point of fury to a home in Fermata where it appeared that Adeliova, Nobilis of Beauty, had been organizing some kind of gambit. She did not get the chance to execute whatever her plan had been before Romnet used truth to undo her and gain some power from it. And it is in the immediate aftermath of this that Mavia perceives the sort of radiating center of the fury she was tracking before back the direction that they came from in Fermata, and we rejoin our Nobilis in that moment of reorientation away from the now vacant focal point of Adaliova and back toward what it would appear to be Celiand proper.
Your recap wonderfully reminded me that we never updated Eka of where we were going.
Indeed not.
So
Well, if we're heading back to Therit, then that may be immaterial.
You are not. You are going back the way you came in Fermata, if you're following.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you said that, because it allowed me to clarify something that may have been unclear to our listeners as well.
I do the divine equivalent of dropping a pin and more or less sharing my location.
All right.
Like, here I am on Google Maps.
Sure. It is perhaps not that clear cut, but you are sure that Eka has the information that he might need to catch up to you. And the building that you are in is relatively crowded with still mostly human Fermatans who are now sort of staring wide-eyed at the group of you, seemingly afraid of what you will do and not wanting to be the first to move or speak and draw your attention.
Our business is not with you. Take care, be safe. Avoid the canals and the beasts that lurk there.
I also informed them that they should venerate nothing.
There are some barely audible murmurs and a lot of fervent nodding and looking at each other.
I look around to see just how much people might get the full implication, hungrily. But I assume I don't see anyone who's fully on board.
They are rather preoccupied in other directions right now, you think?
I can't hide my disappointment, but I don't scare them further.
Yeah,
Kind of you.
it's not intended, to scare them. It's just,
Oh, I didn't mean
An
you had
instruction.
intended to. I just, for sure. I didn't mean that you meant to, just that you for sure had.
Oh, I mean, of course.
All right, I think we go in the direction in which we're being directed or pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mavia leads the way, retracing your route precisely back to the manifestation and into the manifestation.
Am I still paying back speed, by the way? Am I helping us yakety sax around
yeah,
this place?
thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, your words did not have any effect on the people in the house because they were unintelligibly garbled and fast. And yeah, you are still basically marking time in spiral patterns to stay near your companions as you travel.
So what I thought might have been a paean to Dusk, what they heard was a sort of a merp sound while a wild-eyed lunatic stared at them. Sure. All right.
Yeah,
I
more or
accept
less. Which it also goes a long way to explaining why they were so nonplussed about the whole thing.
Upon realizing this, I probably didn't understand, but could likely guess based on Leorian. You guys should worship nothing.
You get a lot of people looking at each other and go, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah."
Animal Crossing.
A lot of beep speech, yeah.
For reference, it was I, not Leorian, who instructed them to venerate nothing. But
Indeed.
So-
Well, I did also sort of instruct them, or at least inquire, but they didn't understand a word of it.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Then they've been twice terrifyingly and once incomprehensibly instructed.
Yes.
Our work is done here.
Right?
clap. Yeah, just kind of dust off your hands and go about your day. So you
It's a
declare
clap that
victory.
counts.
you proceed back the way you came. You come to the manifestation, and Mavia, as you dial in on it, you immediately realize that the greatest concentration of Celian's presence is in the heart of the chancel, which to remind our listeners, last time we were around did not exist anymore. It had just gone away. So this is already something that presumably Celiand has miraculously instantiated as you pile into the manifestation. It is vacant, and as eerily quiet and echoless as it ever was, the architecture being what does that. Not any miraculous effect. Maybe you lead your companions across the open space of the sort of main sanctuary, as it were, to the door, to the stairs, down the uncountable stairwell, into the darkness, and into...
Oh, it's uncountable again?
Yeah, it is uncountable again. Down into the heart of the chancel. Maybe you are the first to emerge, and you're immediately faced with the problem that it is perfectly dark, but there is no silver limning on anything anymore, and only Romnet currently has a shard of darkness. And so you are confronted with just inky black in every direction.
I look with the sight.
It is a little bit like looking directly at a flashbang without the bang. It is not so much that Celiand is preternatural. Well, that's a bad choice of words. It is not that Celiand is incomprehensibly bright, as that the contrast is jarring. You would put her on par with Apatia in terms of brightness here. But you are looking at Celiand. You can kind of see a relief of her in the glow of her Arctoritas. And while it does not illuminate anything physically, because this is not a purely physical space, you are able to sort of gauge basic distances. There's the well, and the rough walls and stalactite pillars now bereft of any snake-shaped relief carvings.
Remind me how long aspect miracles can last.
Well, that's going to depend an awful lot on what level of aspect miracle. But typically,
I'd be dropping 5 for minimum for Godspeed again.
Sure. I would say they last one cohesive set of physical actions. They can scale to what the action requires. Okay. The way that you would extend things is if, let's say, you wanted to use a level 5 aspect miracle to do something that could be accomplished with a level 1 aspect miracle, you could then extend the effect, beyond one action.
And can I get a very good sense of where she is based on the frickin' glow?
You can also give us a moment to get the rest of the way in.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I just don't want to open us up to an attack.
Yes, you can target her. You have a good enough sense of where she is based on her Arctoritas and where it is centered. So I guess what is the intent that you have here?
Just to make myself capable of avoiding an immediate attack from her. But I don't want to mess it up because I'd rather use the points for an attack on her.
Sure. So I believe as Mavia you have aspect 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Which makes me pretty fast.
Yeah, you could use a level 2 aspect miracle to be pretty on your toes as you enter the space.
Yeah, I'll do that to start with without spending any of my temporary points.
Okay. Everybody, unless I hear otherwise from our players, piles in pretty rapidly. And
as I notice the darkness, what's a change cost?
A change, lesser change costs is a level 6 miracle. So for you and darkness is going to be
then a lesser destruction, enough that we can see.
That's a level 5, right?
Lesser destruction is level 5. Yeah.
Ugh. Still gross.
Yeah, because you haven't put anything in darkness?
No, I thought I had 2 in darkness.
Okay, I'm having trouble reading the sheet because you've got it all on one.
I believe that currently I have 2 in truth, which I will be upping to 3 the next time I use a truth.
Mm-hmm.
Although actually that might we can. The next time I use a truth, the better time to have done it would have been immediately after I'd truthed Beauty. But we hadn't, gotten the XP at that point. But I have 2 in truth, 3 in darkness, 4 in murder.
Okay, so 3 in darkness.
The color gradient is, I believe, spelled out in the comment on that line.
Sure, I can't actually see the lightest color. It just doesn't show up on my monitor.
Oh, it's what 2 is highlighted in.
Yeah, there is no visible highlight on 2 for me.
Oh, well.
I just have an old crummy monitor and not great eyesight, so...
Anything?
Yep, now I can see it.
Cool.
Cool. Anyway...
And this, friends, is why communication is important.
Having done with that, that would cost you then 2 miracle points to do a lesser destruction of darkness.
Ugh.
Let us see our work.
It's probably worth doing.
Yeah.
I understand your hesitation, because murder is going
too.
to be very important very soon.
Yeah.
I think probably we're going to do better if
I'll drop the 2.
Okay. So you dispel the darkness, and the effect is interesting. The heart of the chancel is now sort of very mildly and evenly lit, from like no one discernible source. But it is much less dramatic when it is not fully in the dark. It is just gray cave stone with a well in the middle, and with the sort of alcoves and decor for Dosklessa and Romnet all gone from it. It's just cave walls,
Did I ever actually have anything on the walls? Or in the...
I do not remember off the top of my head. I feel like we had discussed it. I don't know if it ever came up on air.
I don't think I did.
Either way, blank walls, blank pillars.
Right.
Just sort of rough-hewn well, and you can see Celiand standing there. It is interesting. She looks very much like she did the last time you saw her outside of her chancel, but smaller, less radiant, more, not all the way mortal, but more towards the mortal end of the scale than she did last time you saw her. She's sort of scowling at the staircase, and is sort of standing leaning on the well as though for maybe like effect or moral support. And she kind of, rather than saying anything in particular, as this space becomes more visible and everybody else kind of clears the stairs, Apatia standing there with her knives in her hands, grinning with a sort of feral cast, Emby standing calmly off to one side. You hear her just kind of go in the moment where everybody sort of piles in. Any immediate actions here, or are we down for a conversation?
I look to Leorian and nod.
I nod, probably at hummingbird speed still.
Well,
you nod, we don't see it, but it's enough for you.
You should just keep nodding. So eventually just
some of the speed is starting to bleed off. So you are maybe coming down to heavily modified RC car speed.
Okay. Well, all the more reason to act quickly. But I know, and let's say it starts at hummingbird speed and then becomes heavily modified RC car. What appears to be 4 Leorian heads resolves itself into one moving quickly. I don't think there's much left to talk about.
There's not. I'm going to spend 4 aspect miracle points to make myself super duper duper fast.
Okay. So that's going to put you at a level 6 aspect miracle, or are you trying to do... I guess if you're trying to make yourself super fast, that doesn't require any penetration.
Nope. So that should put me at impossible for human speed, like catching a bullet.
If you're at aspect 2 as Mavia, spending 4 would put you at level 6.
Oh, it would put me at 6.
Improbable, like drinking a lake.
Yes. Okay, sweet. I was staring at the wrong stat there. Thank you for catching that.
No, probably not.
So drinking a lake fast.
Yeah. Because we all know that's such a swift process.
Yes. And after getting the affirmation from Leorian, I take out Electo and launch at Celiand, pointy end down towards her skull.
In the instant she does that, she's made herself fast, but I make Celiand slow. I perform a creation of tempo. That tempo, of course, is a slow one indeed. Actually, since I've paid back the drum, I don't need to pay anything. I begin drumming.
Okay.
Can you put penetration on the drum?
That was my next question.
I was going to say, you're going to need to.
A lot.
Yeah, you are going to need to put penetration on the drum.
But I'll spend all of the points that I'm spending on the penetration.
Right, exactly.
And,
then I will create a murder.
Okay.
Real quick, do the same rules apply here as far as how much penetration we probably need?
Yes.
Or are we now okay.
Yes, the miracles that you were using were penetrating the same Octoritas earlier, so 5 penetration seems to be the number.
Gotcha.
And a major murder is
a level 7.
Okay.
So with 5 penetration, only 12 total, which for you would mean 7 miracle points.
Right, and I have by right of the last trump available only
miracle
6
points.
So if I am able to snipe any miracle points from somebody,
for sure. How many am I spending if I want to put 5 penetration on the drum?
5.
Is that 5?
It's 5.
That is 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leaves me with 5 to spend.
If they are of domain, then just 2 would suffice.
Sold.
I also have spirit that I can throw in.
These are all pure domain, so let's not last trump before we have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can throw in 2 domain as well.
Okay, if you're going to throw in 2 domain, then that would save me a further 4 miracle points.
Indeed.
So
this, for the record, still leaves me with 3 domain miracle points.
That still leaves me with 4 domain miracle points.
So, we're all right so far.
Mm-hmm. So.
And, just for... We've loved it since we've discovered it. Nettle for power as we do the murder.
Mm-hmm.
We will get to that as we get to it. But noted and logged.
Today I'm counting your chickens before they're hatched.
Now,
counting your chickens before they're butchered.
There it is.
Mavia.
Mm-hmm.
You spring forward. Leorian, you slow Celiand's responses. Romnet, you create a murder. Apatia also springs forward using an aspect miracle of her own. Celiand is slowed, but is at least attempting a response here. And thus, Mavia. Coordination plus weapon hammer, 6 plus a master die.
Three 9s.
3 9s.
With the master die?
With the master die, yeah.
Okay.
There was a 6 in there for half a second that threw me, but 3 9s.
All right. So here is the order in which things happen. Mavia, you spring forward blurringly fast, faster than Leorian was going at any point of the influence of the drum. And you bring your hammer, you bring Electo bloodstone side towards Celiand, thundering down towards her head. She does manage to get her head out of the way. And with 9s, you end up basically colliding into her collarbone here. And you feel the not quite mortal stuff of her give. You can, at your accelerated speed, maybe even see the shockwave propagate through her torso. She, in the meantime, is bringing up her right hand from where it was resting on the well. And you just have time to see the flash of bloodstone claws on her hand. Less like, nail, like getting your nails done type, like roughly kind of primate adjacent claws, and more like talons, kind of sweeping up towards you. They only lightly score you, but they do kind of take you across the bottom of your torso for 2 killing damage to your torso. Immediately following that, hot on the heels of that attack on Celiand's part, Apatia manages to sort of whip past with her knives and gouge 2 deep cuts on Celiand's back. You now have her basically flanked. And all of you are still miraculously fast as you sort of prosecute this fight. So, you feel like you got the better of that exchange to no small part. What is your next combat action going to be?
Now that I know that it's essentially, it's 5 points of penetration. I don't want to write up the last trump just yet.
Mm-hmm. What are you trying to do?
I was just gonna repeat not the full, like I wasn't gonna inflict her with like both fury and madness, but I was gonna do like madness light and try to get her to start clawing at herself, because I think that'd be very satisfying.
Fair enough.
I have enough to add 1 point of penetration, but not the full 5 that would be required.
I still have 3 domain miracle points.
I have 4 aspect and nothing else.
I've got loads of aspect.
Also I am going slow.
Mm-hmm.
Slower than I suspect everyone else here.
Certainly the combatants are all quite fast.
And given that, we can simulate that with I get every other round or whatever. But also, like, I am holding, permanently ready the activation for whichever is the killing blow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you already have a creation of murder in play. It has not fizzled or anything. Navia?
So, I'm going to jump back out of range of her Octoritas.
Mm-hmm.
Does my speed essentially allow me a double action?
Relative to Celiand, it's advantageous, but maybe not quite that advantageous. If you wanted to take 2 actions at once, you would drop a die from each pool of the things you were rolling and try to get 2 sets.
2 sets.
1 for each action.
Because what I would like to do is drop out of her Octoritas, because I imagine I would not be able to pull off anything but a aspect miracle within there, even if it's not directed at her. Is that correct?
Inside of her Octoritas, anything that you are doing to something that is not yourself has to penetrate her Octoritas. Yeah.
Is Electo considered myself? due to that bond?
That's, I guess, my inclination is to say it kind of depends what you're trying to do with Electo. Like, what are you considering attempting to accomplish?
The creation of fury. I need the Bloodstone to lengthen as Feywa's needle used to.
Okay. Yeah, I think that wouldn't have to penetrate the Arctoritas.
Wouldn't?
Wouldn't.
Okay. Is it still in her?
Well, no. You had the blow, and then like you withdrew, she withdrew. Everybody's like moving very quickly within this.
But also, Bloodstone, Shockwave, Torso.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have done significant damage to her body. It just was not a killing blow.
All right, I'm gonna do. clicky, clicky, clicky. I'm going to do a. I'm just going to pour some, I think it's worth pouring some domain points into Electo and the Bloodstone at this point for a major creation.
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
And exactly as Des said, I'm gonna make the Bloodstone furious and encourage it to take on whatever form it needs to finish the job and strike again.
Okay. So your miraculous action takes hold. Would you roll another weapon hammer, 6 plus a master die?
Two 10s?
Okay. Let me do some other rolls real quick. The first thing that happens is that Apatia jams her knives into Celian's thigh and leaves them there. Just like, lets go of them. And Celian may not know this, but you see her going for her remaining flechette. Then you bring Electo to bear as the Bloodstone on sort of the claw side of Electo sort of it doesn't look like it's telescoping so much as it looks like it's flowing. But the sensation on your end is of you 10s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is of you swinging them into the like base of the back of her neck, such that they go all the way through and come out of her throat. Celian, in the meantime, does not attack. She was attempting to get out of the way of your swing unsuccessfully, thanks to being slowed down some. But you do immediately feel a crippling flare of pain from the wounds she gave you in the last exchange of blows. It is immediate and overwhelming. It is miraculous, cracks through your Arctoritas, and buries itself into your entire nervous system, and indeed your sort of divine being as well. Outside onlookers will see Mavia immediately sort of snap rigid and then topple into a pile on the ground. It is not entirely clear what happened to her. Onlookers, drum player and murderer in respectively. Celian is grievously wounded and may very well die of these wounds. But the would have been a mortal blow on a mortal has not immediately killed her. But you are sort of honing your murder in on the bloodstone wounds on Celian's neck. Any particular actions from either of you currently?
Keeping her slow, since she's not that slow, seems important.
I'll snuff any murder on Lissa.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Rather.
You perform this and find that there is no specific murder, just pain.
We can deal with that in the extremely short term.
It is, as far as you can tell, a greater creation of the domain of pain.
Ooh.
I have not felt worse for once.
Yeah. It is not even close. Leorian, you are continuing to slow her down. Anything else?
Yeah, that this isn't a murder that we're seeing, that this is just pain, that this is her idea of a good time. I also perform a destruction of revelry. In addition to this hopefully being the time when Celiand is murdered, this is also the party being definitively over for her.
All right. So maybe it will not surprise you to hear that you are currently out of commission.
Not at all.
Yeah. Apatia gets her flechette out, and Celiand is not... I mean, she's being slowed supernaturally, and she's also, not at her best. But she sees Apatia's attack coming. Her eyes widen, and you feel her use a miracle of decent strength, likely getting her at least close to tapped out in this confrontation, miraculously speaking. And Apatia's eyes sort of...
Can I counterspell it with miraculous force?
No.
Okay.
Snuff out a murder in case it is one, please.
The version of counterspelling that goes with miracles is doing counter miraculous effects, or just having your Octoritas block it.
Sure. Part of what I was thinking there was roll the counterspell, drop points at the target's Octoritas, but
right. And what I'm saying is that you need to have a specific stat or domain attached to the miraculous energy that counters the specific thing being done. And Apatia sort of jumps backward as the force behind her bloodstone flechette reverses. It does not catch her in any kind of instantly lethal way, but it does drive fully through one side of sort of her lower torso. And her immediate response is eyes and mouth wide to leap on Celiand and just start biting her. Celiand can do very little to stop this at this point. And we have...
I will also then destroy that murder when it comes to my turn.
Certainly. I was going to actually ask you can destroy the murder on Apatia with the flechette, and Leorian, anything in particular you're going to do?
What do I do? I'm starting in character to feel like I wish I could be doing more.
You have a flechette.
I do.
And you've been slowing with the drum.
Yes.
So you bring up an interesting point, and I knew there would be a moment to do this, and perhaps this is that moment. I stop drumming.
Mm-hmm.
I wait for the rubber band snap, though I don't think of it that way. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I do at this point. We function in metaphor, and metaphor is a strange thing. As I feel speed become compulsory, and as I move faster than anyone, perhaps even a god, can perceive, if only momentarily, I rush at Celiand. I find a spot on her that Apatia is not covering, and I flechette.
Mm-hmm. And she isn't...
This, I think, is... Sorry, yeah?
You go ahead.
Do I need to put penetration on this? Because even though it's sort of not a miraculous action per se?
Technically, physical attacks on Nobilis do generally require penetration, but I was going to say, since we haven't really been holding to that fully, to what degree are you using a roll or an aspect miracle to affect this?
And I have 4 aspects.
Thank you.
I also have. Well,
those aren't going to be super fungible. And fortunately, for those not looking at Leorian's character sheet, he has 11 aspect miracles.
Bend them.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think what level we're talking about here. I think we are probably talking about...
Look at force, not just speed.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think precisely what it is that I am doing here. And I think once I have the angle, I'm going to do something that is universally improbable, as in level 6, with 5 penetration. And what that is I'm going to put the flechette in line of my lure and launch killing damage with it directly at Celiand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, with a aspect miracle, in addition to just the aspect miraculous nature of it, given your pool, is 8 10s on that roll.
Jesus.
So several things happen at once. Leorian, you snap into fast motion. Apatia is chomping on Celiand. Celiand is slowing down, losing power and vitality as she struggles. Seems to get sort of like a little bit of a burst in which she starts to kind of wind up, and then the sound of your lure propels this flechette more or less directly into the top of Celiand's head, and it disappears somewhere in her body. Romnet, your murder is collapsing into her currently. It is taking effect. A last miracle emanates from Celiand as her form sort of goes limp and the Octoritas dims and dies around her. She doesn't have the capacity or the time for any kind of last words, but as she fades, the stone around you begins to tremble.
Hey, Leorian, you're very fast. Get us out of here. Also, Nettle. Because why not?
We'll again catch up to that once we are out of immediate danger, but thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, I scoop everyone up and get us out of here.
All right. For sticklerness and dramatic effect, let's have you sort of instantiate a level 2 aspect miracle, taking 4 last trump fungible points for you.
That's fair. Yeah, because I spent...
Or you could just draw 2 from me.
We're going to keep it in the moment here.
You said with aspect, they're less fungible anyway. So I'll take 2 from...
and
2 from spirit.
Typically, you guys have the leisure when I've let you funge them. This has to be like a very split-second kind of thing. And Leorian...
4 from spirit, yeah.
Leorian is, among all of his good qualities, not exactly a fad-scale specimen. So in order to gather up those who need gathering and still be very, very quick, I think it's...
Which is to say he's an upgrade from Fad.
Leorian has invested his points elsewhere. Well, Fad lifted. Leorian studied the lure.
So you take off up the stairs, those who can move following you at the speed that they can follow you at, those that cannot, sort of hauled along for the ride. Mavia, for what it's worth, with Celian's expiration, the pain becomes mundane and begins to fade. It is not instantaneous, but like there is a precipitous drop to mortal levels of pain, and now it's sort of tapering off, not fast enough for you, but not like weeks of recovery slow.
All the screams that were choked back by the pain are free now.
It complements the shaking and crumbling walls very, very well. You are bolting pell-mell up these stairs, and Leorian, you are going quite fast as you do so, but it's not really a physical space, and there was some relation
Take us to Boar
between the presence and miraculousness of Celiand and the presence of the Heart of the Chancellor again altogether. And so you start sort of like trying to collect everybody to make the jump to Boar, when entirely not of your own devising, nothing envelops the group. You are no longer in the stairwell, you are in a void. And very momentarily after that, almost instantly, but with just enough of a delay to be perceptible, the dusk-shaped nothing that you have seen him instantiate as before sort of pops in, as it were. He's not moving in a way that makes you think he's super comfortable, but seeing you evidently, he says, "Oh, good, I got you out. Oh, good.
Hey, boss.
Hey.
Thanks for the rescue.
Yeah.
How was your nap?
Can I get out 2 names?
Yeah.
I say Rhymeless and Philia.
He sort of stops short. He says, after a momentary pause, yeah, they're next on the priority list. He moves very quickly to your side, Mavia, and sort of puts a hand on you, and you feel some miraculous energy return to you, easing the pain and accelerating your recovery from it. This is in the shape of 2 domain miracle points. Dosk says, I'm sorry I don't have more, but I'm still partly asleep. I've got nothing. And, well, this. And he puts sort of like, leaves the one hand on you, puts the other one on top of your head, and you feel as it rests on your head, he jams Forge into you, and as it leaves your head, takes madness from you. And he sort of wobbles a little bit as he takes that shard. So if you would like to spend your divine XP currently, this is an opportunity where that power is very fungible. All right. So that doesn't again like bring you total comfort, but it does bring you up in both spirits and being more okay physically as well. And Dosk sort of, he sways on his feet a little bit, and he says, I still mostly asleep, and there aren't many of us left. It's hard. Whatever we're gonna do, we got to do it now.
Let's do it.
He
whatever it is,
sort of holds out a hand, and out of the sort of black of it leaps Puff, landing on his arm and sort of scrambling up to, well, where his shoulder would be if he had any particular body parts. And he goes, Who else is left?
Cirtha.
Cool, good, great. Do we know where Cirtha is?
I ask Ethka where Cirtha is. Actually, no, I don't. I truth, where's Cirtha?
All right. As a divination there.
And I will use that as an opportunity to drop my XP into truth, if that's
that
cool.
Is cool. Yeah, you may drop your XP into
separately,
truth.
has the nettle gone up?
So just going to get to that.
Cool.
So
otherwise I may not have the power.
Sure. So let's see. You're currently at 3 truth?
Yes.
Okay. So the way that the nettle goes is it just that power that was trickling into you in this kind of hurried moment here goes with this major divination. And the nothing that you're in stays nothing kind of around you up to about head level, but above you coalesces into a night sky above you. And
sure,
the moon grows brighter and brighter and brighter in that sky. Now you're the only one who sees this, but that's what
it looks like. I still point up.
Yeah, sure.
Check the moon.
Oh, good, yeah. I think Dosk looks at Puff. He looks at you all. He says, I think we need to get rid of all of us all at once. There can't be any imperators. They won't not take it if they're the last one.
Yep.
He nods. All right. Good. So how do we get to the moon?
I don't think I'm that fast.
Boss.
Huh?
There's distance. There can be nothing.
Yeah. So, who's going? And I guess we'll be all right. There. Probably. Anybody ever been to the moon?
I will look at him like that is possibly the dumbest thing on a long list of things he's ever said.
I've promised it to the occasional person, but never been there.
Dusk chuckles and goes, right, yeah, cool. I don't guess we know where any of the certain Nobilis are. Wasn't one of them the moon?
I think Ia was, but we've been in contact with Eka.
Cool. Which one was that?
Confession.
Oh. Huh. All right. Well, whatever we're going to do, let's do it fast. I'm sorry, my brain is not working so good. It's in 2 places, and both of those places are kind of being choked right now. This sucks.
You could destroy the madness.
Yeah. Hang on. You get the feeling that he's like closing his eyes and concentrating. And there's like a kind of tremor in the nothing around you. So I guess it might be more accurate to say there's a tremor passes through you despite not affecting the nothing. And he sort of takes a deep breath and he goes, all right, well, it helped. It definitely helped. Hopefully it'll last a bit. Okay. Right. Moon, Eka, let's go. And he sort of gestures, and the nothing gives way to the sort of gateway plaza of Fermata. Mostly empty. People are just now starting to kind of poke their heads out as the various animals that were threatening them look kind of baffled and slip away in various forms. Dosk, having deposited you there, goes, right, you guys work on the moon. I'm going to work on Rymelis and Philia, and open line if you need to pray, and I'll try to be back when I can. If it seems like I'm going crazy, it's probably because I'm going crazy. So I guess act accordingly.
Thank you, Dusk.
He takes a deep breath and nods and says,
Where did her power go?
Dusk sort of shakes his head and goes, I can probably find out, but I'm going to take care of our friends
Sure,
first.
Not pertinent presently. Yep.
And he nods and pops out.
Hey, Eka, let's meet on the moon.
From about 15 feet in front of you, you hear, what?
Oh, well, meet then.
Yeah, I was partway to Therit and got a different location, so I turned around and made it back here.
Yeah, we've had a long day and very far-ranging.
Tell him things are happening quickly.
Eka, for
that's
his
not
part,
a pun about my thing.
Looks like he has been sleeping in ditches for weeks. He looks rough. But he sort of nods and he says, right, the moon. Why?
Your boss.
Oh. We haven't been able to get in touch with him, really. But, right, the moon. Well, if we could make contact with my familia, that would be relatively simple.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam?
Uh-huh.
Is the moon by any chance a chancel?
How do you propose to find out?
I'm a world walker. I look up.
Mm-hmm. You look up, and you see a path shining like moonlight that threads its way into the sky from somewhere very, very far from here. There's a specific location somewhere on the ground where this path starts, and you can walk it all the way up to the moon. You have very little sense of how long this would take, because not only are you not perceiving distance with physical senses, but there's not really a good way to gauge the distances involved from here.
Yeah. So I'll look around, look back down and look at everyone. So there does appear to be a path that we can walk to the moon, but it's way that way.
Eka follows your point and goes, I suppose that makes sense. Yes, that is the direction of the heartland of Sirtha, roughly.
I suppose we could cut through Boar.
Yeah.
Eka says, if you do have a shortcut, I would appreciate it. I've been trying to get back to Sirtha for, weeks now.
I hope something that can make you feel better if you'll let me do the miracle thing.
He looks a little nervous, but then sort of shrugs and says, what have I got to lose at this point?
I do a lesser creation of Furious Joy. The old coffee trick.
Yeah, it perks him up a little bit, and he looks a little bewildered, and he says, thank you. Well, I suppose let us be on our way? And, Apatia sort of nods. Imbi kind of raises a hand roll like this and says, I think I should go see how things are doing in Therit. I won't be much help in a situation that you're likely to run into, she says, kind of looking askance at Eka. So if you could send me that way. And
you should be able to get there from Boar yourself, but yes.
She nods, brow furrowed. I think so. I just don't have very much experience with it.
Fair. We will help as we can.
Of course.
So, yeah, everybody sort of gathers together, steps into Boar. You see, Imbi on her way to Therit. And
I give her a hug before she goes.
Same.
Yeah, she gives hugs all around. Apatia sort of, rests a hand on her head and kind of kisses her forehead. And then you part ways as you step out into a sort of low rolling hills and scrubby sort of dry plains just on the edge of a large city made mostly of white stone. You're near a gate. Eka, for his part, falls to his knees and says, "Oh, thanks, Sirtha. Oh, it is so good to be home."
I pat him on the back, but like a slow pat, like they're there.
Where can I see the path start from where I am now?
It seems to come from dead center of the city.
Center of the city, and we can go up.
Ika sort of brushes himself off and stands and says, "Right, yes, let us go." And starts to lead the way. And as he sort of does lead you walk through a city that would be fairly fascinating to take in. There are a lot of people doing a lot of things, but you are in quite a hurry and can't really spare the time to take in the sights. But of course, as you near the center of the city, you actually see some of Sirtha's nobles sort of standing near the structure that the path seems to originate from, a large white stone temple building, the dome that the path sort of intersects as it comes out of the building. And Eka sort of runs ahead to try to confer with them. As you approach, you can see that Eka is conferring with Ia, Rimush, and Lanara on the steps. They look haggard, though not nearly as sort of disheveled and miserable as Eka does. And they seem less than happy that he has brought you here. What are you guys doing as they confer?
Approach to within earshot at a minimum.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I check on the party.
Okay. And at this point, it consists of the three of you and Apatia. And you are all. I mean, Mavia is probably the worst for wear out of all of you.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, yeah, I ask after Mavia's injuries, such as they are.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot about those. And with everything else that happened.
Yeah, really, once the miraculously inflicted pain had mostly drained away, what was left was so pale in comparison that this is the first time you've thought about it. As you approach within earshot, you hear Rimush saying, "Let them go up to. Who knows?" And then he sort of notices you, sort of close, and "Oh, welcome to our city, named for our god. Find yourselves comfortable in Sirtha."
Thank you for your greetings.
It is just as nice in person as described.
You are gracious. He gives you sort of like a praising eye, as you are Mavia-esque. But he doesn't.
Possibly worth noting.
Mm-hmm.
Ia and Rimush have not experienced me as a Nobilis.
True. Yeah. In fact, they haven't paid too much attention to you at all. Ia speaks up and says, "Might I inquire your intentions here?"
We're trying to destroy the throne.
And that means?
This requires the so the object of the war, the becoming of an overgod, there is an upward pressure. We seek to destroy that pressure, that there may be no further war, nor any further cycles of the Overguard and the splintering and the resumption of hostilities.
She just takes a breath as though to say something, and Lenara speaks up, quietly cutting her off, and says, "And how do you propose to destroy this upward force that you need to travel our hidden path?"
It requires proximity to the throne and letting go.
She sort of...
But it also requires the cooperation of the 3 remaining Imperators.
She narrows her eyes and looks kind of suspicious, but you can sort of see Ia, Rimush, and Eka kind of shifting and looking at each other. And Ia takes...
Did Tohil come with us?
He did not.
Okay.
I had actually, I don't think we made mention of it, but I had left him back in Ferret because he was pretty drained.
Fair.
I had you depositing Puff and Boar for safekeeping, and
okay, yeah.
Tohil staying.
Leaving someone in Ferret seemed prudent, given that there were some things occurring.
Yeah, and now Indy's going to go join him.
Yeah, a wall of water for the second time this campaign.
The rock people we hadn't even really dealt with too much because we had bigger.
They turned out to be animals, I thought.
There were no
rock
people.
That's
involved,
right.
Yeah.
Correct. That's why we didn't deal with the rock people, because there weren't any. It's been a day. Yes, that too.
So, Ia sort of takes the speaking role back again, and she says, "What you have to say is interesting and informative. We shall endeavor to make you comfortable while we discuss among ourselves what to do with this information and whether or not you can be trusted. I hope you understand."
I do. If it helps, he's also truth.
They sort of look between you and Ramnet, and Ribush kind of blinks twice and then goes, "Yeah, I see."
I will suppress my gift and say, "And darkness and murder." But I am truth.
They all sort of exchange glances again, and then gesture for you to come into the temple. They lead you to... this is a large, roughly square space where there are sort of little 90-degree alcoves kind of here and there around the edges of it. They lead you to one and bid you be seated, and that someone will see to your refreshments momentarily, and then hustle off to the other side where there is some sort of additional structure where they can go speak in private. Apatia, for her part, does not sit down. She paces, looking kind of sullen and annoyed.
Apatia?
Yes?
Can you get rid of a memory of a sensation?
She pauses and says, harder than getting rid of a sensation that's currently happening, but it's might be possible. She sort of looks at you, and her eyes soften a little bit, and she says, "I'd certainly be willing to try for you."
Not if it costs you too much.
She shrugs one shoulder and she says, "I guess I won't know until I try." She sort of rests a hand on your shoulder and closes her eyes and focuses. And you feel sort of the pressure of her Arcturitas on yours, and then sort of the opening of your Arcturitas to allow the authorized miracle through, and you feel something sort of like wash through you. And in the aftermath of it, you can remember that you were affected by Celian's miraculous creation of pain, but the actual what it felt like is mercifully file not found.
I smile and thank her.
You thank her, you relax, she smiles back at you. You are much more aware of the parallel cuts across your front now, though.
I'd rather that
Yeah.
than anything else.
For sure.
If there's furniture to prop my feet up on, I do.
Certainly, yeah.
I'll look around in the site as also a divination of truth. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, mine is trivial, so really quick. I assess the wounds with my 1 healing that I bought last time.
Marvelous. So
now I'm going to have to figure out how to bring climb to bear. Damn it, Drew.
So I believe that's 2 dice.
Yeah, two dice.
See how this goes. No matches, unshockingly. High of 3.
They look gnarly.
Point well spent.
Yeah.
Can I spend my mortal experience point on lie?
Probably. Let me just see here. Yeah, you can spend your mortal experience point on lie.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to look Leorian dead in the eyes, say 'tis but a flesh wound.
Roll 4 dice.
No matches.
All right.
I say, you can't fool me. That's gnarly.
Robnet, you were doing something more directly related to the plot. Not that I begrudge our players their indulgences, but what were you about to do?
Dear listener, we are hour 5.5 in this recording
Indeed.
at this point. I am looking around in the site as a divination of truth, just seeing what there is to see and recalling that there is a nobilis of ignorance.
Okay. You look around. There isn't that much. Obviously, you have the path, you have the auctoritates of the Nobilis of Cirtha on the other side of the temple structure. You also have the sense that there is at least one miracle of ignorance placed dead center of this temple, like, main space. Sort of would be underneath the quote-unquote stairs up to the moon. Of course, looking at the space, you don't see anything really, other than the signature of a miracle there.
I'm a bit tapped to inquire, but there is a miracle of ignorance dead center, and I will say this in a way that is intended to carry a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Worth noting.
Worth noting.
Worth noting. Could just be a good way of hiding the stairs.
The patient nods and says, I'll check it out, and starts walking towards the middle of the temple.
She doesn't do well without a task, does she?
I don't know. I hope she's okay.
In the time that it takes you to have that exchange, she's basically arrived. She's quite quick when she wants to be. Has a non-zero aspect, if nothing else. And she's sort of looking and gesturing around, apparently kind of nothing in particular. But then you hear a sort of stony clunk, and the miracle sort of dissipates, like soap bubbles popping. And there is a little pedestal dead center that you can't make out fine details on, but Apatia has manipulated something on it, and immediately the quality of the light from outside begins to change. Apatia sort of looks around, shrugs, and walks in no particular hurry back to where you all are sitting.
I'm just gonna look around now. Instead of looking with truth, I'm looking with World Walker.
Okay. The path to the moon is still there, but it's not silvery. It's more mundane looking. Though you those of you without World Walker still don't see it at all. And it only takes a quick glance out of one of the windows in the alcove to discover that the positions of the moon and sun in the sky have swapped.
A miraculous dimmer switch.
Immediately the door that Cirthus Nobilis had gone into swings open, and Ia and Rimush come pelting out, looking around kind of wild-eyed, and look immediately at where you all are. And Rimush looks like he wants to shout, but grits his teeth instead and waits until they're pretty close. Ia hisses, "What did you do?" Apatia does her best to look innocent, which is not terribly successful.
I step in front of her. I'm not sure.
I saw that there was a miracle of ignorance. I mentioned it.
We might have poked it.
I was specifically not going to undermine truth by lying in that, or by mentioning that, or by lying about it. This is out of character,
sure.
To be clear.
Of course.
But I will shrug when that is said.
Mm-hmm. Rimush sort of puts his forehead in his hands and mutters to himself in a dialect probably native to Cirtha, if you had to guess. Whereas Ia sort of looks up and says, "Oh, no, this is really a great idea that you meddle with the polarity of our god while we cannot contact him and have no idea what state he's in. Very, very, very smart." She sort of looks around.
The meddling was not intended to do anything in particular.
She does not acknowledge your statement. She just says, she sort of gives you a hard look and says, "You are not welcome here any longer. Please leave, and leave all of us alone. We will work this out on our own."
I'm afraid we might be past that. I don't think any of us is on their own anymore.
There are 3 gods left.
And I can tell you exactly what they're feeling, if you would like to experience it, which is likely why you haven't heard from your god. Apologies for messing with the polarity. We didn't realize that you had a switch in here. That ignorance is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it conceals, and sometimes you stumble into something you shouldn't.
She sort of grits her teeth and says, "Right, because there's no way there would be a reason for that miracle to be there. If you will not leave, we will force you to leave. You have worn out your welcome. Do not care about your war. We want our god back. If you can't help with that, then you have no reason for being here."
We would like to help with that. I hope you understand why we were suspicious of a miracle, considering that half of your delegation was hidden in our chancel for so long.
She seems somewhat nonplussed by that. She sort of says, the kind of shakes her head and says, "Our miracles in our home." And then just sort of gestures to Rimush and says, If you will not leave, we are prepared to force you.
I gather I gather contact with my friends and their delegation, and I world walk us up that path.
Okay. Let me see.
I smile as we depart.
Because we're leaving.
I can step from the earthly vicinity.
Mm-hmm. As you begin your trek up the path, you are already out of earshot of the Sirthans on the ground. But very quickly, a very, very bright light begins to emanate from Rimush down on the temple floor. And a similarly bright light begins to suffuse the space that you are walking on.
What was Rimush's
the sun
spirit?
Or his spirit. I believe he was moderate spirit. So 3.
Are we all close to Leorian?
I mean, presumably you're pretty close.
Stairway's pretty narrow, right?
Yeah.
Considered.
The only concern is if the stairway just...
Path, not a stairway. It's more like a...
It's not a stairway to heaven?
It is more like a Roman highway.
The Roman highway to heaven doesn't have the same ring to it.
Roman highway to hell, now we're talking, but that's not what we're doing.
It is quite wide. It is entirely expertly fitted stone. Yeah.
No metal, damn.
It is at an incline, fairly steep one for a road, but still perfectly
Creation of Darkness is just 3, yeah?
Lesser Creation is level 4 domain miracle.
Then I could either borrow a domain point or trump 2 of mine.
I have 4 domain points left.
Okay.
You can have one.
I'm tapped on domain points, but I got Roman Spirit in a pinch.
If I can borrow a domain, Lissa.
Oh, you got one.
Thank you. And I will spend that to create lesser darkness around us.
Right. You can feel the intensifying sunlight on the edge of your miracle of darkness, but it seems that you are preventing it from affecting you directly successfully until and unless Rimush changes his approach. If you are looking for a visual, the outside of the darkness that you have summoned here looks not unlike the Hammer of Dawn weapon from Gears of War.
Oh, fantastic. Are any of the rocks molten? Not
that you are able to see, because the rocks in your vicinity are not being affected, but it's possible that they are being affected trailing behind you. You wouldn't really know.
I bolster the darkness with a creation of fury and make it spite the light.
Okay. Yeah, you feed the fury into the darkness. It does seem for the moment that you are safe from what Rimush can throw at you.
Do all of us in this party currently have aspect of non-zero?
I think I'm still 0.
Leorian is still 0.
Okay.
The only thing I can really do in this situation is drum and get us up where we're going faster.
Don't do that. We want you fast. We do not want you slow.
I was going to say.
So there isn't a ton to do other, I guess, than chat on your way up. But after some amount of time of walking, your party does hear from Dusk. He sounds a little ragged, but he says, I think I've managed to stabilize Romulus and Philia. They're sort of in a similar torpor to what I had Ruta in.
Okay.
And I suppose we'll see what we can do. Romulus was a challenge, since he didn't really have an anatomical heart. And, well, I'll give you the notes later if it comes to that. But how goes on your end?
We're walking to the moon. We've pissed off the Sirthans. They didn't like us to begin with. Fuck them.
Oh, good. Well, that's great. When you get there, I suppose I'll come to you. And I'll try to bring Puff. Oh, good luck. And
thank you. Be well.
Yeah, sort of falls off, and you continue your ascent. Eventually, the stone of the road turns to sort of gray dust, and looking around, you realize that there's no road behind you. You are standing on a cold and desolate surface. It consists almost entirely of gray dust. The night sky spread out around and above you.
So is this a chance?
It is similar to a chancel in that it is the body of an imperator. But you don't sense the murders that would accompany a chancel.
Hi, Sirtha. I don't know if you can hear us, or otherwise sense us.
Upon hearing that, I stop midway from scooping some dust up off of the moon with the intention of handing it to Apatia as a joke.
There is no response.
How does the moon
look? Is
look
there an
with the
Auctoritas?
I could not hear the crosstalk there, sorry.
We said the same thing. How does the moon look like with the sight?
Okay.
Or what does the moon look like with the sight?
Suffused with a low-key, but in aggregate fairly powerful Auctoritas.
I poke the Auctoritas.
It isn't really until you have the intention of poking it that you really feel it, in the sense that you would often feel an opposing Auctoritas. Seems kind of to reactively reinforce itself to your intent.
Can I do a ghost miracle of furious joy without the intention of penetrating it, just to show like a hey, we come in peace sort of deal?
You try it, glances off the Auctoritas.
Mm-hmm.
Hello? In character.
Sure.
I try simply saying hi.
Apatia sort of turning in a slow circle, and at a certain point in her full revolution goes, "Oh, good to see you again." And turning, you see that Dosk has, as he said he would, stepped in among you. He looks around, and he says, "Well, I don't think I expected there to be a place more desolate than Bor, but here we are." He sort of nods to himself.
Desolation requires there to be something for contrast.
Right you are, as usual. He sort of reaches up to his shoulder where Puff is sitting and sort of strokes Puff's head, and he says, "I guess I already know the answer to this, but is the whole moon Sirtha?"
Pretty sure.
Oh, I was afraid of that. Well,
a distinctly non-responsive fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Dusk sort of, his head swivels this way, swivels that way, featurelessly. He says, "Well, my best guess is he was wounded severely enough to basically just be reduced to
torpor.
Yeah, hibernation. Kind of feel sorry for him, kind of don't. But
his representatives are dicks.
Well,
that leaves open the question of whether it was negligence on his part in choosing them, or
whether he set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Dusk.
But we all came out of, secrets, madness, revelry, darkness, murder, etc. So
Dusk sort of gives a chuckling exhalation and says, well, so it won't matter for too much longer. I guess it's probably time. I don't really know what's going to happen when there are no more imperators between you, Nobilis, and the throne. But I trust you to handle it, for what that's worth.
It's been an honor, boss.
I hug Dusk.
Yeah. It is a singularly odd sensation, but he seems very grateful for it. Apatia joins in on the hug as well. Puff sits on his shoulder the entire time, failing to look aloof on account of being too cute.
I offer my hand to Puff, and then ear scritches.
Puff tries to look affronted at being ear scritched, but the ear itself kind of does that little flick, 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 movement that sort of belies the haughty demeanor.
I will bow to Puff.
Puff sits up straighter and raises his chin.
I take a note from Ron on that, and also bow to Puff as I back away and say, thank you, Ventus.
You might notice at this time that I have been bowing to both Dusk and Puff the entire time.
Yeah.
Only now do I become self-conscious about it and say, thank you, all of you. I really kind of caught the tail end of this whole divinity thing in its current form, but there's no one I'd rather have experienced it with.
Dusk looks at you, Leorian, and says, you're the best evangelist a god could hope for. Thanks for flying by the seat of your pants into this whole thing.
I do not literally float away into space, but emotionally, that is what happens. I'm no use for several seconds. My eyes are alight.
He looks at Apatia and says, I guess we could probably qualify as unlikely friends, but I like to think of us instead as lucky friends. And Apatia gives him a warm smile that she then deliberately turns intimidating, and says, it was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and leaves it at that.
Not friends, Dusk. We're family, and we'll see each other again.
He nods and says, I don't know that that's not true. And he walks up, to you.
It will be true to the best of our abilities.
He walks up to you, Alyssa, and reaches up to put a hand on your shoulder, and says, it has been a wild ride from day one, but it couldn't have been better company on any part of it.
No, I wouldn't have chosen a different path, I think, even if I had the option.
He chuckles. He says, I guess I wouldn't either. Seem to have had more options than most. He pauses for a moment and then pulls you into a hug, which again feels strange. And he seems conflicted, but chooses not to linger, and then turns his attention to Ramnet, and sort of hovers awkwardly on the inside and outside of personal space boundary as he says,
I will roll my eyes and step into a hug.
He gives you a relieved hug, and he says, it couldn't have been weirder if we tried, but
it was lovely.
Yeah. I hope for the best for both of us.
Let's see how things stand, if we can arrange it so there isn't an inherent power imbalance.
He chuckles. He goes, my thoughts exactly. I'll hope to see you on the other side.
I will work to make sure it happens.
He nods. And he sort of clears his throat. His voice is a little thick as he says, "Why is it that I always am bereft of words when they would be most useful? Well,
because you are nothing. I say that as a good thing.
If I could, I'm gonna need, I think, all of the juice that all of us have to bring to bear."
Yours for the asking.
Thanks. He
Do I still have that statue?
Yeah,
the face.
You do, yeah.
I will pull it out, still holding it using the fabric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if this will help, but the time I touched it, it tried to rip the shards right out of us.
He goes, "Ooh," and reaches out cautiously, like touches it for a second, and goes, "Okay, maybe. Yeah, at least it's safe to hold." And he holds it for a moment as though to prove it, and then nods once and goes, "All right. No sense putting it off any longer. Here's to my family." And his emptiness that is his body instantly expands to fill everything.
To the family, I say, and I offer up, I assume, my miracle points.
Mm-hmm.
To family, miracle points, and whatever else may be necessary.
Mm-hmm.
To family, I do likewise.
You feel your reservoirs flow out of you, and then you actually feel yourselves turn into a conduit for the belief of Firagi's sect and the various other people whose lives you've impacted in a way that made you memorable and, if not objects of worship, then of regard. And then you feel a pressure on your shards. Not the same exact thing that Lissa felt in the God's Woods with the artifact. It's not pulling them out of you, it's pulling the power out of them. For gameplay purposes, nothing will change stat-wise right away, but you are feeling it as it happens. It's not painful, but it is not pleasant either. You have no precise sense of the time in which you hang in this nothing in this moment, but slowly the nothing fills with a gravity. It pulls, instead of down, up. It pulls as though from the crown of your head towards some point above you. There's still no scenery, no thing, but you can feel it yawning. Directly, for the first time, you feel the pull of what you've come to call the throne. Presumably, everyone and everything that possesses a shard currently feels it to some degree.
I remind everyone, if indeed we can speak in this nothing, of the vision, and that there is a thing, metaphorically, beneath, behind, I cannot remember which, that, if picked up and let go rather than grasped, will undo the whole edifice.
You are able to communicate this to your familia, though you doubt it is through sound. And the pull strengthens. You stop being able to just stay where you were in relation to it with no effort. Now, if you wish not to be pulled along, it requires you to dig in.
Have I felt this before?
Not directly, but you have experienced the memory of this sensation, though the shape of both your body and soul are different from the shape of the body and soul whose memory you experienced, and so there is a unique and maybe even personal texture to it.
If I can, I take Leorian's hand and Romnet's hand in mine. And I walk of my own pace towards the pool.
By intending to do so, you feel that you have done it, though no physical motion was involved, and similarly, you set a pace. As you intend to go toward the pole, the insistence of it lessens, though it does not disappear. You sense that Apatia has rested her hand on your shoulder, is following behind, allowing you to set the pace. Again, the passage of time is difficult to assign in the state you find yourself existing, but eventually sensations do sort of coalesce from the nothing. If anyone has ever read the Lovecraft story From Beyond, the effect the machine in the story has is to awaken dormant senses in humans that allow them to see things, to perceive things with senses that they are unused to, things that were always there for the perceiving, but we lacked the ability to perceive. And it, in the words of the story, is like sight in the end. When the machine has affected you to the fullest, it's sort of, your brain interprets it as visuals. And you feel like that's kind of what's happening to you here. You're not actually in a place. You're not actually seeing or hearing or moving or touching or smelling or tasting, but your minds are providing you with a version of the sort of spirit space that you're in that you can
ultimately
interpret.
The metaphor might as well hold.
Indeed. Though, perhaps, especially you, Ramnat, having been in a vision, touching on this before, might be particularly aware that the metaphor might as well be physical, except that the physical is less mutable than the metaphors. And the space that your minds supply here is relatively abstract. It is got sort of an inky void as a floor that sort of ripples a little bit when you stand on it, or step on it, though it feels solid enough. There is endless space behind, ahead, to your left, to your right, punctuated by occasional columns that don't seem to connect to anything above you. And rather than a more literal image of a throne like Ramnet saw in his vision made of landscape, there is simply a yawning void in the space that has constructed itself around you, ahead of you, that continues to pull you forward.
Keep going at our pace.
All right. As you approach, your senses start to have to pick and choose what they keep track of. You become a little more abstract to one another, although you can still remain connected and aware of where you are. And the yawning void grows in the way that things do when you get closer to them, but also seems to reorient so that it is most of your field of vision. And you can look into it without bending over to look down.
What's inside?
At first, nothing at all.
What is beneath or behind it?
As you look into the nothing, as you try to discern something, you can in fact see that it is something of a veil covering something. Leorian, you don't see a scene emerge from behind the veil exactly. You simply experience, at something of a remove, possibilities. There is somewhere in this void a world in which your family's tensions and squabbles are charming, not tense, where the art and craft and act of performance is primary to the way that people relate to one another and value their lives and their societies, where the kinds of people you've spent your life around are considered wise and indispensable, and you are surrounded by friends, old and new. It is a world behind the void in which Aldry is alive and part of your troop, and the drum was never broken. Lissa, Mavia, in the void emerging from behind the veil, you can see an entire possibility where you didn't have to try to bend or change for your family to love you the way that you could accept, where Varric had always been in your life, where your craft was recognized exactly for what it was, practical artistry that made people's lives better, where people are allowed to live as they want with the people they want to share their lives with. You are in every way, in this glimpse, at peace. Ramnat, emerging from behind the veil in the void, you are shown a world in which it isn't more than a thought to keep in touch with or even be with people, however far-flung they might be, where casual conversation is in earnest, whether friendly or not, where Dusk never had to ascend out of the mortal world, and where the communication of ideas and the swaying of people is an expression of affection and value, where, for the most part, people say what they mean and mean what they say.
I would like to know the truth of the cost of this.
Interesting. Let me double check something. Go ahead.
I feel fury at recognizing the similarity between this world and that which I saw in the swamp. Mm-hmm. And that my family is absent from it. My real one, anyway. Mm-hmm.
I look to my family, the real one that's here. I look to Lissa to see if this is a trespass that has to be forgiven, and I look to Romnet to see if this is a trespass against truth. I want to believe it, but I don't believe it.
Nor do I.
And Romnet.
More or less on Romnet's face is writ, "One moment, verify."
Your divination of truth was to know the cost of this. It is at once familiar and strange. If you embrace the possibilities before you, they will come to pass. But you will be separate from them. You will be here. Wherever here is, whatever here is. And you will be all-powerful. But you will be alone.
I communicate that to my family and stress, you will be alone.
I felt that despair before. I don't want that.
You hear a quiet sniffling from Apatia from behind your shoulder.
You don't have to tell us what you saw if you don't want to, but we're in this together.
She
together
nods wordlessly, tearfully, returning Alyssa's embrace. Without turning your head back, the void fills your vision again. You can seek detail of the possibilities it offers endlessly. You can see whole worlds if you take the time to look. In the worlds behind the veil in the void.
Is it possible to tear the veil down? I asked this to my family.
Mm-hmm.
We have to let this go. That's what the vision was. We have to say no to this option.
Hold a world made to measure for you in your hands, and then let it go.
Let it go.
Mm-hmm. Can we turn away?
Temporarily, yes. But it floats back into your vision whichever way you're facing after a span of moments. Apatia seems to be attempting to hide from it in her embrace with Lyssa, but it doesn't appear to be working.
I also try to assist in the hiding of Apatia from it.
Sure.
And glare at it.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't want this.
No, we don't want you.
No. There's nothing you could offer that we would accept.
Apatia hisses, "Nothing!" into Lyssa's shoulder. The veil between you looking into the void and the images that you are seeing when you look in wavers and thins, and the vision comes closer, becomes more tangible, sharper, more real in front of you, shows you ever more detailed, personal, maybe even fulfilling possibilities. Apatia takes kind of a ragged breath and says, I don't know how to refuse it more forcefully. Do we...
3 times I tell you, and this is true. Nothing is worth this cost. We refuse it.
As you say that, and for this affects Romnet only, the window into possibility that you were seeing leaps forward and becomes everything around you. You don't perceive it as replacing the world that you came from. It has simply wrapped itself around you. You are in it. And in it, you are sitting in a somewhat familiar common room in Fermata. You have a similar enough fellow to Thad, but somewhat better fashioned sense, pressed up against your left side. You have a mug of coffee in your right hand. You know much more about this world than is visible from this spot in it. You feel it being bespoke. You fit here.
The quality of the prison does not change the nature of it.
The fellow to your left speaks with Dosk's voice and says, "What was that? Did you say something?"
Never mind. And I reach into my chest and tug on the shard.
You feel, not with your fingers, but immutably all the same, your sort of nexus of shards, and you pull. Pain lances through you and through everyone you can see and everyone you can't see in this world. The gentleman with Dosk's voice sitting next to you looks up at you, eyes full of fear, and says, "What was that?"
I'm very sorry, but this isn't real.
"What?" And you give the shard another forceful tug. It tears free, leaving your body intact, but shooting agony through your spirit. And it dissolves from your hand. Leorian, Lissa, the void consumes Romnet, and he is gone. It is the two of you and Apatia here.
I call to him and try to, without letting go of the others, look on the other side of the void, not through, but behind.
As you sort of peer around, it swirls, and you find yourself sweating over an anvil in a familiar, comfortable workshop. Varric walks up to the door, no longer moss-bearded, and calls, "Hey, girl. About time to be done for the day, eh?"
Varric, this isn't you.
He gives you an odd look and says, "Not sure what you mean by that, but, making me think you definitely need to be done standing by the forge. Let's get a drink."
I'm trying to figure out a unique way that does not involve just reaching into my chest. I do, to the best of my ability, a destruction. I do a destruction of fury.
Okay.
I want to...
A greatest destruction of fury?
A greatest destruction of fury.
Okay.
Because this is all made not from a place of joy, but from the rage of someone who has been an outcast their whole life. And I want it to end.
You focus and you pour everything that you can marshal into a destruction fury, and you feel the shards within you begin to crumble as they are tapped entirely, as you funnel more and more of power, more and more of yourself into the destruction of fury here in this place. And as you watch the walls of the forge crumble around you, Varric, his form simply falls apart, like a poorly made doll or a wax moppet set too close to the fire. And the ground underneath you crumbles away as the last of your shards, and the forge is the last to go, crumbles away. Leorian, Void swallows Lissa, and she's gone. It's you and Apatia now.
I turn to Apatia.
She looks
All right.
particularly bereft with Lissa gone.
No.
I'm sorry that you two couldn't do this together, but I know you can do this. I know that I can. I know that we can. You know what you have to do.
She squeezes her eyes shut. She nods. She says, "Right. Hold it and let it go." She sort of looks at you for a moment. She says, "I hope I will see you on the other side, and, well, I apologize if this is distracting." And she bites down on your wrist.
That's my girl.
And then as
you do this together, together.
As you watch, the void wraps itself around her, and she is gone, along with the puncture wounds in your wrist. You are alone here now.
I stare through it as I've never stared at anything before, and I say, don't waste your time. Or mine. As I've said, there's nothing you can offer that I would accept. This ends here.
The void in front of you quivers a little, and then becomes your world around you. You are on a familiar stage. The tides repast. On the stage with you are your family. Shiragi singing while you and Antiraj play. You can see your troupe in the audience. And front row, center, dramatically costumed, is Dask, clapping in time, big smile plastered on his face. The whole attention of the tides repast, of the city, of the world, is focused on the harmony that you are part of on this stage. No, the harmony that you are the center of on this stage.
I say, perhaps inexplicably to all in this version of reality, is this all you have to offer? Everything I ever wanted? And I play harder, and I don't deny myself a moment to consider that it could be real, but I reject it very intentionally. I pick it up and I put it down, and more literally than anyone ever has, I play my heart out.
When you first speak, Shiragi does not stumble even a little bit in her singing, but she sort of glances sharply back at you, and then as you're playing, gets more forceful. She sort of takes some steps off to the side, and her singing falters. The other musicians falter. The noise of the crowd falters. And as you play, your playing starts to destroy the tides repast around you. in a way that sets your fight or flight response off because you remember this feeling. But you continue to play, tearing chunks out of people, masonry, instruments. People are confused, in pain, fleeing. Your playing drowns them all out. And on the last note of your song, you feel it happen. All of the energy left in your shards blasts out with the final note and clears the entire world away from you. The four of you find yourselves in what appears at first to be an unfamiliar place. But you realize as you sort of blink, adjust, look around a little bit, that you are in a clearing in the God's Woods. There's nowhere else it could be. But bright sunlight is shining through the branches in a way that it never did before. It appears to be just the three of you and Apatia here, but there is still a world. The four of you still exist.
Do we have any nobility left?
You seem to be purely mortal.
I will call out for Dusk.
Your voice fades away very quickly among the trees of the God's Woods.
How does everyone look? Because we had some folks that were not mortal in appearance.
Indeed. That makes Lissa the first to notice that, Romnet is not exactly mundane in appearance, but...
Do I still have my smoking void skull?
You have dark, undulating hair, and you have all black eyes, but not smoking void skull. Apatia, for her part, has somewhat pronounced canines, but much more normal teeth than she had before.
Are her eyes back?
She does have eyes, and in contrast to Romnet's, they are fully white, though she does appear to be able to see, though she is squinting quite a bit.
I look at my tattoo, or for it.
It is present. What do you see when you look at it?
It may not be apparent to me at first, but upon closer scrutiny, I realize that I'm looking at a single-headed snake and not a dual-headed snake. And I can tell this because it has the features somehow from both. Mm-hmm. The colubrate eyes, the venom pits, and it somehow has taken on some metallic scales as well.
Mm. Excellently described. As you take in the more and less obvious changes in yourselves and in the world around you, you come to realize that you may have been wrong in your initial estimation. It's not so much that there is no divinity, it's that there's no shards. It's as though there is a speck of the otherworldly clinging to each person. And certainly the Godswoods still feel somewhat uncanny, if not supernaturally so.
I hug my family.
I feel safe in saying that they hug you back.
Yeah. I will try to use what divinity I have and can figure out how to do so to reach out for the concept of dusk, absent though he likely be.
You are unable to so much as reach. You are limited in all practical ways to normal mortal means of perception and communication. Apatia, for her part, gets into the hug and starts sniffling and then crying and then bawling. And she sort of squeezes onto you and says, I thought I would never see you again. And then sort of wipes her nose and collects herself.
I offer her my kerchief.
She looks at it and then goes, oh, and sort of wipes her eyes and sort of sniffles a little bit and hands it back. Thank you.
Well, here we are.
Here we are, and here
Apatia says,
it all is.
Where are we?
The God's Woods. As it wasn't.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you know. Well, what direction do we go to find the others?
Can I roll my 2 dice direction?
You're welcome.
I will also roll sense direction with a few more dice.
Hey, a 9 and a 3.
All right.
3 threes.
All right. You are more easily able to do this than previously because you can actually see the sun from the God's Woods. And you are able to orient. It would be a longish trek on foot, but you're pretty sure that if you walk roughly that way, you'd eventually get to Calavan and then Barrett, maybe even swing by Fermata on the way, depending on how much of a hurry you were in. And
do we know if it's actually called Fermata here?
No clue.
Okay.
How are we sure this one is real?
One time when Dusk was in his cups, he told me about a book he read about this, actually. A lot of books he read about it, but one specific one where we can't. He said this as though it was really good news, actually. I don't know that it is, but, well, I guess we just find out by living.
Apatia just says, well, in what I saw, none of you were there.
Same. We're together.
We're together.
We don't appear to have divinity.
There's no reason left to lie to any of us on the part of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still think that all of you look pretty divine, but that's just me.
Apatia wraps her arms around your elbow where she can kind of reach up.
I will reach very up to sort of pat you on the cheek as if you're being cute.
And then Apatia's face falls and she says, oh, we're probably limited to walking speed and having to eat and sleep and things, aren't we?
Yes.
Welcome to being mortal.
She chuckles. She says, what a novel experience.
I recommend everyone try to avoid being stabbed. Or bludgeoned, or, any of the other myriad ways of falling out of good health.
And if you drink a lot, have a glass of water before you go to sleep.
The patient nods seriously to all of this advice, looking like she's taking it, on board, almost like taking notes. Have you, as you have been talking here, set off in the direction that
I would have urged us to, yeah.
As you walk through the God's Woods, it's quite pleasant. And by the time you reach its edge, heading, sort of across the narrower dimensions of it, into the grasslands that will lead you in not too long to Calavan, the sun is setting. Stars are coming out. The moon is becoming visible. And, well, it doesn't really seem as deep or as dark or as mysterious as night falls as it once did. The ocean depths beneath the horizon to the west are less inky and less primal. The stars overhead are just twinkling points, pretty and serene, but less alive than they were. For all the world around you, godless, masterless, may seem less vast and alive than it did when gods roamed it, it is also now free, and much more beautiful than ever because of it. I would like, if I could, to do a little bit of time-lapse here and there. Where does your journey take you? And, in what order?
To Severin at some point.
All right.
I make sure to show my family Nima at some point.
Okay.
I probably stick with the rest, but I do make a point of taking us all to Severin, which is what became Fermata.
Fermata would be one of the foremost stops, because
Agreed.
that is where both Kea and Varric would be for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also tried to figure out where Rowena went.
Indeed. So, as you walk out of the God's Woods on that first day, you discuss, possibilities for checking out the world as it is now, trying to find your other loved ones, find out what became of the people and places you care about and have seen. And you get sort of a relatively efficient kind of plan going. From where you are, the shortest walk is to the Vales. You go into some of the, market towns near the Calavan periphery where the settlements are the thickest and ask around a little bit. It seems that people are not snapping to grid on the changes. They're experiencing much the same kind of shift that you all are. So information is, it benefits from asking a lot of people and getting a lot of perspectives. But what you're able to piece together is that the dunes that had overtaken parts of the Vales have sort of receded. They blended into the land as it was before. Places are now hotter or sandier, but the Vales have reasserted themselves to some degree. And by the time you can get there, you'd have confirmation that Lurenton geographically is, as you left it, collapsed. But that it would seem that its people have started building a new town around the vicinity of the pit that now harbors their old town. It may not be as much of a jewel of the Vales as it once was, but whatever else the people of Lurenton could say for themselves, they are stubborn and unlikely to leave their home. So you work that into your itinerary. You head that way, and surely enough, a well-kept and large, but somewhat outlying homestead is where you run into Urian and Rowena. Rowena is overdressed for the cottage industry that she is occupying herself with these days, but still pitching in, it would seem. We can spool time up to normal speeds here if you would like to catch up with her.
I embrace her and ask what she remembers.
She blinks at you, somewhat confused, and says, well, there was the collapse, of course, and we made a go of keeping an inn, but didn't have enough visitors. I'm not sure exactly why. We ended up setting up on a crossroads for demigods and no others, but they didn't even pay most of the time. She gives you a meaningful glance. So I'm glad to be trying this out. Perhaps when the town recovers enough. Well, we'll see how the crate's fortunes fare at that point.
It will recover. I have a feeling we'll be okay.
She looks kind of fondly out at where Urian is milking a goat and says, I think we will be. You're welcome to stay for dinner, though it will be humble fare. I'm sure it will. She sort of chuckles a little bit. Bother you less than it bothers me.
I think I'll take you up on that, though we can't stay too long. We have others to check in on.
Well, I'll be happy to visit with you, but if I'm being honest, happy to have the visit be short enough that we don't get on each other's nerves, eh?
Sounds good by me. You have a lot of work to take care of.
Yes, well, hopefully this won't be the last such visit, but...
Hopefully. And hopefully you won't get any calluses.
She gestures over by where her spinning and weaving and sewing kind of tools are at a small shelf. And she says, I had enough tools for the protection of my hands during these labors that Urian had to build a shelf just for my thimbles and gloves. She says, it sounds proud.
I'd expect nothing less from you, Rowena. I touch the necklace around her neck before giving her a hug.
She's a little stiff, but seemingly sincere in returning the hug. And she sort of murmurs, I'm not sure exactly what your role in all this was, but thank you for it, and thank you for checking on us.
If you ever have need, you'll have to write me, because I'm more than a prayer away at this point.
She nods and says, how easily we get used to the conveniences of divinity. Well, a mundane letter will have to do, and the same goes for you. I'm sure that you need less from me than I may need from you, but we are family, aren't we?
Family, we are.
And you settle in to a humble but enjoyable dinner in the company of family. And the next day, you help out a little bit around the homestead and then set off for Calavan, the next on the list. It seems to have suffered pretty badly from everything that went on with the sea, though not as badly as it could have because of its harbor wall. People there are in the process of rebuilding. And for the most part, don't take any particular mind of you, although a few people, upon seeing Lissa, will hurry in the opposite direction as fast as they can.
Whoops.
It's been years since I've been to Calavan, I think. I don't think I was on any of the adventures here now.
When Tyrios had acquired some wayward shards, you accompanied everybody.
Oh, right,
otherwise,
yes.
Other than that brief visit, yes, I think you were mostly absent from Calavan in this campaign. But yeah, you are seeing it recovering from a tsunami. It's had a little time to do so. Currently, they've started a new cemetery outside the city. Very, very fresh headstones. But the people seem to have knuckled down to sort of trying to repair and rebuild and get back to some semblance of normalcy. Leorian, you can stop in to talk to Kelio, who has taken up the mantle of the Calavan house, but not leadership of the entire city. There's sort of a council arrangement going on among the trading houses of Calavan these days, which is a first time that's happened in probably a couple centuries.
I comment on that. It's quite a remarkable achievement, getting any of these people to talk to each other.
Oh, you'd be surprised how willing they were to talk when it became clear that there was power for the taking. But I didn't really want to be a doge of a trading city myself, and the Calavan family's, well, family tree is such that it would have fallen to me, so here we are. I'm glad not to have it all on my shoulders. I mostly serve as something of a figurehead for the masses, which suits me well enough.
Suits you very well, I'm sure. Look, you may have been right that the troops' time had passed, but I hope you know that you can call on me if there's anything I can do.
He nods. He says, well, I suppose there will be less that falls into that category now that you no longer have divine abilities, but should anything come up, I won't hesitate to ask, and, well, my family still owes you, so call on me if you need. Though, don't hold it against me that your contributions are not exactly part of the story we'll be telling around the events of the past year or so in Calavan.
Hey, I'm as divine as you or as anyone now, and that's the story to tell.
He looks a little bemused and says, it's got a ring to it, certainly.
It's good to see you.
You as well. Do stop by any time. And we'll rule that you do spend, like a night or two, in the city, sampling the Calavan hospitality before moving on to Fermata/Semerin.
Which does it call itself now?
People actually use both. The people there have lost many of their troglodyte features, though they still tend toward pale and a little gangly, varying a lot from person to person, but just take a large enough sample size. And they've begun rebuilding. The biggest difference is that the impossibly huge trees forming a mostly solid canopy have become somewhat more mundane huge trees, forming a less
merely possibly huge trees,
forming a less impenetrable canopy, and this has necessitated, a number of repairs. When I say rebuilding, partially this is just because, well, aspects of the city as it was aren't really suited to living in a non-supernatural place. But also because they were affected by the surge from the deep as well. Not as much. The wetlands, shielded them from, full tsunami effects, but there was fairly severe flooding. Waters just rose and rose and rose. And so there's a lot of, relatively well-planned logging, some kind of cannibalizing of obsidian buildings for materials for other things. A number of people, not a huge chunk of the population, but a substantial enough group have left to go relocate to Calavan or Kaunas or Selthen. And the people who are calling it Fermata versus Semerin seems to actually be mostly age-related. Both groups will use both names freely, but younger folks tend to call it Fermata, older folks tend to call it Semerin by default. Word seems to spread relatively rapidly when you arrive that you're in town, and so you have enough warning to prepare as you hear Kea running up from your left side down a side street, and you can turn to intercept her as she flings herself into your arms, Lissa.
I will do my best to stay upright.
You just about manage it. There is a moment where you think you're going to go over into the canal, but you don't. And Kea just squeezes you really, really tight. And sort of murmurs affectionately, but not especially coherently, in the general vicinity of your neck and collarbone, for a small time. After a couple moments of this, Robert, you hear a and Thad is sort of standing looking a little awkward behind your left shoulder, and he's like, I like the new look as much as the old one.
Glad to hear it.
And he looks extremely guilty and looks down at the ground and says, I tried, but I couldn't save the coffee.
I will just put a hand on his shoulder. Oh, that is no worry at all. Thank you for trying.
He looks extremely relieved and just kind of clears his throat and says, "Oh, well, I'm glad you're okay." And
I'm glad you're
somewhat
okay,
uncertainly goes to hug you.
Yeah, he gets a hug.
Again, seems kind of relieved, and much more at ease post-hug.
Question.
We do seem tragically to be in a world without Dask.
When Kea runs over, there's no sign of her personal son.
No, there isn't.
Okay.
That can actually be the subject of a conversation later on. She'll actually say that over the course of about a week, after the flooding, Moxie sort of slowly faded, and she says, "It was sad to see Moxie go, but I took it to mean that she'd succeeded and hoped that I'd get to see you again. So here you are." This can also be a little later. The nightcap is still undergoing repairs, but Varric reopened his four-gate saloon pretty much as soon as the floor was dry enough to stand on. And so she took you out there to see him. So you're have at least the one, certainly several if you'd like them, evenings of warm camaraderie there during your stay in Severin/Fermata.
I send a number of letters during that time. One to the Confluence inquiring as to whether or not Dask turned up there. One to Firagi thanking her for her assistance during personally and logistically difficult times. One to Croesus Tyr thanking him for his service and letting him know that he is indeed free of me now. And one to my brother, letting him know what has transpired and where he may find me.
Okay. Yeah. You were able to send off some letters. We can anything that you particularly want any of you to accomplish, during a stay here is fair game.
Also, what's the government of Fermata? Severin.
Good question. There is a sort of Venice-style council oligarchy in place. Basically, the folks who had space that people who were displaced by the flooding could use kind of ended up coming together to direct things. It doesn't seem like it's anything super official, and who knows where it'll go as things return to normal. But Evine and Ilona are both on that council, as is a fellow that you all had not really encountered before, with sort of a very gaunt, pale complexion and a mop of dark hair, whose name is Timothy.
Timothy! Now that's manifestation.
This feels like the GM giving us precisely all a present.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you. If you have your rejecting a false reality from the void, you can have your Timothy for dessert.
Oh my.
I guess Romnet just might.
Time will tell.
There may be discussions.
Eventually, you've spent some time in Summerin Fermata, enough that a letter gets back to you from the Confluence, Romnet. It is from Vruta, who has made his way back there. He reports that it is in utter disarray thanks to its coastal position, but that this may actually be good for them in the long run. It's a tall enough, sturdy enough building that no one was lost, though they were uncomfortable.
I recommend that they train up a cadre of archivists.
And he is sad to report that there's been no sign of Dusk, but that he's doing his best to sort of recover the resources and get it on perhaps a more useful and practical, somewhat less culty path, though it remains to be seen how well that will work out. When you eventually do find yourselves ready to leave Fermata Summerin, Kea wants to come with.
Of course, she can.
Yeah.
She should.
And on the road up toward Ferret, you will actually get a reply to Romnet's letter to Croesus. The reply is actually from Melly, because Croesus has passed about a month after the Taraxan month, so basically a season after the tsunami. He took ill and never recovered, and Melly has taken over running the Tyr family. He thanks you, tells you that if you should see Dusk before Melly does, you should thank him, if indeed Dusk can be thanked, his words. And says that you are welcome in Thered at any time, though it may not be as comfortable for some time as it was last you visited. Eventually you make your way to Theret, and it could be worse. Reports in the city are that most everybody managed to get far enough up the hill not to be in immediate danger from the tsunami itself, that the sort of sea break seems to have helped blunt the destructive force of just like the current of water crashing over the city. But the flooding was quite severe, and a lot of corpses and boats ended up in inopportune places throughout the city, and the walls could not take it. They fell in most places, and the stone has since been salvaged to rebuild the interior of the city. The Demacor who were there were pretty much stranded and have begun to integrate into the city. And this is actually pretty interesting, because they, are bringing some of their architectural and sort of artificing prowess to the city in a way that kind of has the potential to put it on the map in a big way, as a source for fairly advanced forge and handcrafts. A couple of people have also started settling down. There has been some Demacor immigrants starting families amongst themselves, some settling down with locals. They seem to be setting up shop. That may be about all. Until and unless you want to have individual conversations with folks you may know in the city.
Do I recognize any familiar faces among those from Diamacor?
People you know by name, just Onela and Imbi, who are very happy to see you and invite you to stay with them in what is essentially a fairly well-built shack that they've set up while they construct a more permanent building on the site for them and for the others that they came over with. But they seem to be the only close acquaintances of yours who made the journey.
Any sign of Rimalus or Philia?
There is, protecting the more open side of the mouth of the harbor now, a permanent whirlpool that the currents can't really account for. It's a little harder to figure out if there's any sign of Philia at first, but there is, in conversation with Melly and I guess Lissa, your grandmother.
I was not going to bring up Mima, but we should probably check in on how she's been.
Yeah, at some point I do call on Melly.
Yeah, so you do
can handle all that at once.
Yeah, you do have a tense but as well as it could be expected to go a couple of conversations with your Mima, and she actually points out that she's been directing some of the tier's resources to sort of caring for and educating some of the city's orphaned children from the events of past year. And that doesn't immediately make you think Philia, but when you do actually go check it out, you see that she is one of the younger members of the group of kids in this basically orphanage who are sort of helping to care for the much younger children. So mostly the group she's in are like 12 to 14, but she's like 7, but keeping up very well. She actually notices you almost right away, but waits until she kind of gets a moment away from the others to come and speak to you all, and fills you in. Basically, she washed up on shore at some point in the aftermath, and realized that she was alive and was apparently going to stay alive as well as anyone does, and so made her way to some place where she wouldn't stand out too much and could do kid stuff, and seems to be finding it pretty to her liking, though obviously she's kind of having to do a lot of adjusting. She's trying to let herself allow herself to need the adjustments.
Well, if she ever needs an adoptive aunt to appear.
She snickers and she says, I suppose I know where to look for you. Thanks. We'll see. I don't know exactly what I want to end up doing as I grow. She sort of says that last with a little bit of awe.
Take your time. Some of us reach adulthood and still don't know.
Yeah. Any other conversations or affairs we want to have in Theret? If not, I'll
say one thing. When we were in Calavan, we didn't say whether I checked in on Timos. So we can say I received a letter or we can retcon. But how's he settling into things?
You know what? I just got his name wrong. I referred to him as Kelia. I meant Timos. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Honestly, the conversation applies both ways.
Right, yeah. So. don't think I had Keelio actually being in Calavan. I just got the name wrong.
Okay. Some of what I said makes like 90% sense rather than 100% sense, but
sure. I'll figure it out one way or the other. I'm lucky that that's the only such thing I know of so far. So
no, this is remarkable. So no worries.
Anyway, yeah, I'll rule that once you have, kind of had your fill of Ferret, Melly.
I do let Melly know that I have and will continue to search for Dusk, but signs point to not showing up or not showing up yet.
He takes that more or less in stride as his expectation, if not anything that delights him, and says, well, I do appreciate that. I hope he turns up, but if not, well.
I also let him know that the city of Cirtha at least existed when last we left it, and we have no reason to believe that it won't continue to if he needs someplace far away to seek trade with.
He thanks you earnestly for that information and starts putting together, a
and I could give him an approximation on a map, as it were.
Yeah, he's very thankful for it. It's likely not to set off anytime before, sort of like the next year, but having that to look forward to is one of the things that will, he says, make the city feel like it's getting back on its feet. And so when all of your rounds in Therod are done, Melly is happy to charter a ship to take you down to Nema. And in light of everything that happened, most of Leorian's relatives and acquaintances have sort of congregated back in the city to kind of check in on and help each other. So the arrival is a tumultuous but overall relatively warm one, as there are introductions all around. And
I introduce my family to my family in those terms joyously, and I carefully study the faces of the Cathars to see who understands.
I'm going to go the ones you would expect.
That's fair.
I'm also going to rule, because it's plausible and for tidiness' sake, that with the Cathars came the remainder of the troop and Ramnet's brother Alsar in the city. And so, in relatively short order, your party has settled into as much of a stay as you want in Nema, kicked off with a packed house at the Tides Repast, and Leorian's sister Firagi and Aunt Hiraj, the sort of headlining performance for the night. Much to Lissa's delight, they do keep a couple of casks of the extremely burny stuff for travelers to partake of. And if there is anything that you wish to tie up here, this is the time to do it.
I'll make a point of introducing myself to Firagi as Ausar's brother.
She actually doesn't believe you at first, but then she kind of squints and she goes, "Oh, you are? Well, it is a surprise to make your acquaintance." And she shakes your hand. And the two of you get along pretty well.
Oh, I suspect we'd get along dangerously.
I thank Firagi lavishly many times throughout the night, and after having a little bit of the Bernie stuff against my better judgment, I show Aunt Hiraj the loot to show her that I've taken good care of it, and tell her that with it, we've killed gods.
She...
as well as crowds.
Tries to see if you're having her on. Can't tell. And
I will give her with an utmost straight face, that is the loot that destroyed betrayal.
She sort of...
It's true, I swear.
Or the lure, rather, that destroyed betrayal.
I suppose she won't know either way, but she sort of blinks a couple times and tries to see if you're having her on, and then she says, well, I guess I'm glad that I was right about it being best off with you. You'll have to play it. Not tonight, but soon.
I smile. I hold it reverently. I sling it back over my back, and I venture a hug.
She sort of gives an audible eye roll, but returns it with a fair amount of warmth. So if there isn't anything else that you need to tie up in Nema, we will, I think, leave our found family enjoying the Tide's repast, its entertainments and its music. Lissa having festive drinks with Kea snuggled up against one side and Apatia chattering happily on the other side. Leorian, sort of reintegrating with a community of performers that he worried he might have lost, and enjoying a unfamiliar level of status among friends, family, and audiences, but none quite so warm as those of his familia. And Ramnet enjoying getting back pieces of the life that Mott had pulled him away from into Fermata, and getting a lot of good conversation and excellent coffee, and as much companionship.
And hopefully someone
I was going to say as much companionship as he decides to go for, honestly. If nothing else, the crowd at the Tide's repast is really into your eyes.
Plus, I can dance.
Even
though I don't think I rolled that a single time during this campaign.
It does go... You did roll it once in 10 turn.
Oh, okay.
And it does go a long way with this crowd. But yeah, I think that is where we will end not just our session, but our campaign.
Woo-woo!
Congratulations, players and listeners. That concludes the Nightfall campaign of Dice Punks, our inaugural campaign. I heartily thank you.
This does mean that with the start of our next campaign, we will actually be fulfilling the mission of short campaigns in less well-known systems.
I'm not going to commit to any given idea of short, but I do think our next two campaigns...
meant only to emphasize the plural.
I understand, yes.
Indeed. Campaigns, we have been saying.
Yeah. The phrase is full campaigns.
Yeah.
That's a well-known system.
Our next couple...
So
this was a very full one.
The plural and the full. Yes, this was more full than most, I dare say. But yeah, the plural and the full are both key to fulfilling the promise. So those of you who have stuck with us, thanks.
Thanks for joining us for the last 100+ hours in Neoleth. Players especially, listeners double especially. It has been an absolute blast, and I hope that players and listeners alike enjoyed it as much as I did. This has, no joke, I have enjoyed this like few other things in my experience. This is an absolute treat. It is good for me in ways that I cannot even begin to describe, and a ton of fun. So thank you to all and sundry, and I fervently hope that everyone will join us for our interstitial content coming up. We're going to have a handful of things between this and the next campaign, and that next campaign is going to be in Hardwired Island, relatively recent indie RPG describing itself as retro future cyberpunk. If you liked the themes of community, labor organizing, anarchism in this campaign, Hardwired Island will serve you well. Or it should. We'll see if I pull it off. yeah, if you're hearing us now, you probably know where to listen to this. But our upcoming interstitial episodes and campaigns can be found any place one can listen to podcasts. We're also on the wider web at dicepunks.com. And by the time you're hearing this, I should have us not just on Twitter, but co-host and maybe even Tumblr as Dicepunks. And, with that, I think we're ready to say farewell to Taraxis. So say goodbye to the world and the kind folks at home, demigods.
Thanks for joining us, listeners. Thanks for joining us, good people of Mealeth. It's been wonderful spending time with all of the above, and I look forward to going somewhere else with you, listeners. And you players, and you GM. I love you all.
Mm-hmm. I also love you all. Until our next adventure, dear listeners, any further farewells I will leave to Lissa herself.
Thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for listening, co-conspirators. And a fond farewell to Mealeth, and probably some amount of continued nomadic search for Dosk.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. And as the poet once said, revolution and revelation, stirring up the muck just for the fuck of it. Nothing's gone in the heart of the beast. Action speaks louder than passion, takes longer to realize. You children should all stop acting like punk rock never happened. Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of the finale in Nightfall. Stick around through the admin stuff for an in-character sign-off from each of our player characters in turn. You just heard the conclusion of our marathon 12-hour finale recording session, with the after-show Dice Peak still to come for our wonderful patrons. If you're hearing this, it likely means you've listened to over 100 hours of our adventures in Mealeth, and we couldn't be any more grateful to you for taking that ride alongside us. We're incredibly excited for our upcoming interstitial episodes, and even more so for our next campaign, Hardwired Island. For now, thanks again for listening to this first epic campaign. On to the credits. The songs in this episode, Theme of the Dice Punks in its acoustic version, were written and recorded by the Viscount of Tempo in his element, Drew. Cover art and editing were done by Joanne, who has appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet, starting with anythingsows.com. Site design and graphics for dicepunks.com are by Robin, the player behind Lissa and Mavia, the Nobilis of Fury, Madness, and The Forge. Rain and the one-roll engine it runs on were created by Greg Stoltze, whose work can be found at gregstoltze.com. Nobilis was created by Jenna Caterin Moran and can be found at afarandsunlessland.wordpress.com. Links to both systems and authors can be found on the Punk Grimoire section of our website, dicepunks.com. Thanks so much for listening to Nightfall. If you liked what you heard enough to stick around through all these episodes, that's reward enough on its own. But if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks. We have fun rewards available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks after show for episodes 1 and following. We'll also probably make something of a push to reach new folks as our new campaign starts up, so there's never been a better time to take any of those steps. But if you prefer to just listen as you please, then we're still grateful for you. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again for our next few smaller adventures. Until then, though, remember, subtlety is for cowards.
All right. One thing I keep thinking about. How can we know that any of this is real? The great philosophers would say we can't, or the saucy ones would say it doesn't matter. Both of these answers are, of course, as obviously correct as they are totally unhelpful. All we can do really is watch for signs that things are too made to measure. What if there are still gods? Or what if there someday come to be and they simply learn to keep out of sight? That keeps me up at night, some nights. I'd love to see Dosk again, of course, but not as a boss, as one of us, as family. But, as far as we can divine, there's no everlasting order, no right and proper place for things, much less for people. There's just a world unaccountably old, and new every day, and no more and no less just than we, all of us, can manage to make it.
There is a legend of a forge. Or, more accurately, many forges. Though all these legends come from different lands, the description remains eerily, unerringly the same. Those who see the forge discover it in times of need. Those greedy for a second visit may find that they can't quite retrace their steps again, or that the door is closed, the exterior dusty and cobwebbed in abandonment, or that the forge was never there to begin with. But for those that find the door open and a warm hearth inside, oh, it wouldn't be a myth if it weren't touched by the miraculous, would it? Those who have never lifted a hammer or file in their life find that the tools feel natural in their grasp. Whatever it is they seek, the materials are there at hand. Even the poor, bringing their scrap metal to smelt, have been said to watch the warm, molten hues of it turn to solid gold once cooled. And if the hammer's rhythm syncs with the passions of their beating heart, they find that the craft flows as naturally as the blood in their veins. Great wonders are made without fail at this forge, and these wonders overshadow all else that is told about it. For what is more wondrous than the joy of creation? But there are other peculiar consistencies. There are references to a great forge mistress who is there to mentor new metal crafters as much as she seems to heal them. If they're blinded with rage, their eyes clear. If darkness haunts their mind, sunshine warms their soul. If they're in want of a meal, a drink, or a friend, they find themselves in great company. This forge mistress is rarely alone. There's a musician with oddly perfect timing, a gentleman with darkness where his eyes ought to be, a man with a beard that almost looks like moss, the lady with pure white eyes, the adorable barmaid. And the forge mistress is not always present either. Visitors without need of her may find the most perplexing notes upon their arrival, a platinum pin left to the side. "Gone to say hi to my favorite whirlpool," it'll say. "Bringing fruit to my favorite bat." Too much coffee, off to make a new genre of music, or occasionally, with perplexing simplicity, humoring my sister. I fear I focus too much on these consistencies across different retellings of this forge that is neither here nor there, but precisely where its owners desire and its visitors require. What matters is what those that visit the forge make. A noisy ruckus that makes their hearts sing and eyes shine. A better version of themselves. A better world, even, of their own creation. And that's a dusk. Oh, you say that this is too far-fetched for a world without gods? That miracles are no more? Well, if you insist on taking the magic out of endings, then I'll offer a peek at the void behind the veil. Empathy, and a good teacher, can go far in offering comfort or teaching new skills. All metal looks the same while molten. It's not too difficult to swap them out in the furnace without a need as something as ridiculous as alchemy. And I have it on good authority that this forge mistress is especially skilled at her craft, and managed to make the forge portable thanks to the insights of a group of musicians and the cleverness of some young folks from Diamacor. The forge itself has become a place capable of not just transformation, but movement. I suppose that former is the thing that always attracted me to metalcraft, through its fundamental premise that something can be made whole or new through the trials of fire and annealing, and that very transformation is what stories often tell of their heroes. Once the metamorphosis is complete, the story's end. What comes after is quiet, oft untold, but not without great comfort or happiness. So, if this is to be an ending, let us end with a toast. In times of need, may you always find a warm hearth and the tools to forge the change you require. May you have the wherewithal to recognize your transformation as it occurs and embrace its heat. May you remember that anything that breaks within you can be mended. May you find divinity in the everyday. And may you too discover your purpose and the quiet contentment that comes after. Carry this legend with you far from this tavern and our drinking, my dear friend. It's yours now, and the forge awaits you whenever you have need of her.
Here we are again, after the end of all things. Well, not all things. Truth endures, even if it is no longer mine. Darkness falls on the nightly, and in places where light isn't. Murder, well, don't do that, please. It's not very nice. Family endures, and kindness, and fallout. We have to keep going because in the absence of gods, the work of living and of taking care of each other must continue. There remain no shortcuts, so we all have to do our part. This is a truth, even if I can no longer enforce it.